Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. We are starting chapter 4 and it is titled Zip It and Pray. How to talk to God before you talk to others. And instead of a Bible verse, they have a quote from John Bunyan. Prayer will make a man cease from sin, or sin will entice a man to cease from prayer. Let's see how much of this we can get through before I have to go into a part 2. When I was in college in the 1980s, I came across a pamphlet entitled How to Spend an Hour in Prayer. I had been a Christian for just a couple of years and I was intrigued. I knew about people called prayer warriors who placed great emphasis on conversing with God, and prayer seemed to come to them as naturally as breathing. Maybe you know some prayer warriors too. They constantly want to know your prayer requests. They habitually intercede for others, and for them, spending an hour in prayer is no big thing. I myself have never been known as a prayer warrior, ever. In fact, I am more like a prayer wimp. I find it difficult to keep my thoughts from wandering when I pray. They ricochet all over the place as I try to focus on communicating with God. Way back in the 80s, when I came across that pamphlet, I decided that things were going to change. So I took off to a park one sunny autumn afternoon with my Bible in hand and a resolve in my heart to follow the step-by-step guide. I felt like a spiritual giant. I settled myself on a quaint park bench near some pine trees and a lovely flower garden. I opened my Bible and looked down at my pamphlet and began to do what it suggested. Spend 5 minutes thanking God for the blessings in your life. Spend 5 minutes praising God for his character qualities. And so on. Apparently, breaking down the various categories into 5-minute increments was supposed to help. But it didn't help me. 5 minutes seemed like an eternity. Pretty soon a jogger happened by. He was carrying a small portable radio without headphones, and the blaring music distracted me. I couldn't really get into worshiping the Lord with Michael Jackson's Beat It blaring in my ears. Maybe in retrospect I should have joined along, singing that tune out loud to the devil. 2 hyper squirrels decided to chase each other up and down a tree and around my bench. I laughed at their antics, but again lost my place. A family having a picnic nearby decided to engage in a rousing game of frisbee. The frisbee got away from one of the children and soared past me, barely missing my head. Even when the animals and humans quieted down, still I had trouble concentrating. I couldn't focus. I kept thinking of all the things I had to do back at the dorm, and I got distracted looking around at nature, even though it wasn't making a sound. I gave up after 23 minutes and concluded I just wasn't cut out to be a prayer warrior. My prayer wimp status makes me feel spiritually inferior to those for whom prayer comes naturally. But it doesn't stop there. A lack of prayer affects another area of my life. When I don't pray, I am more likely to say things I later regret, or to say something that needs to be said, but I say it in the wrong way or at the wrong time. And there are even times that I say nothing at all when I should really be speaking up. Yes, when I don't make it a habit to talk to God, I sometimes speak or fail to speak to others in a way I later regret. Talking to God helps me know how to talk to others. In addition to the fact that prayer warriors take communicating with God seriously, I have also noticed something else about them. They are not generally known for gossiping, using harsh words, or talking too much. In fact, just the opposite is true. Could there be a correlation between the time and effort spent talking with God and the quality of our conversations with others? I think so. Take my friend Kelly. She and I became close friends over 30 years ago when we were fresh out of high school and both landed on the same floor in our tiny Midwestern Christian college dorm. She was on the cheerleading squad. I was on the dance team. She had only sisters. I only had a brother. Her favorite color is lavender. Mine is peach. But the greatest difference between Kelly and me? My mouth has often gotten me into trouble. However, in the 30 years I have known Kelly, I am certain I have never once heard her gossip. Seriously? While she seemed to spend a lot of time talking to the Lord, she did not spend time talking about others, or talking in an angry way, or saying the wrong thing, or talking too much. I don't ever recall her having to remove her foot from her mouth, something I seem to have to do often during my college days. As I got to know her, I noticed right away that she took her relationship with Christ very seriously. Oh, she wasn't one to do acts of righteousness before others so that she could be thought of as super spiritual. I just noticed things, like the fact that she often had her Bible open on her dorm bed, where she had highlighted passages, with a lavender highlighter, of course. Or I would spot her writing in her prayer journal, recording requests from family and friends that she had promised to pray for. She often sent me a note in the campus mail telling me she was specifically praying for me. The more I got to know her, the more I realized just how important prayer was to my friend Kelly. Watching Kelly's life over the years has convinced me that there is a direct correlation between our prayer life and our conversations. Perhaps if we spent more time and energy on our prayer life, we would use our tongues more wisely. My husband Todd had also taught me about the impact of taking prayer seriously. He often gets up early in the morning to pray, and when he was a small group leader, he frequently stopped by the church after his late night shift at the factory just to walk around the circle of chairs in our classroom, praying for each person in our small group. If I had just worked a 10-hour shift at a factory, getting off at 2 a.m., the last thing I would do is go on a little private prayer walk. I would drive straight home and dive into my comfy bed, vowing to pray in the morning. But not Todd. Over the years, he has consistently forged his relationship with God through regular prayer times. That's how he processes life. And if it means losing out on a little sleep, so be it. Interestingly enough, Todd, like Kelly, does not have a problem with his tongue. Very rarely have I ever heard him talk negatively about someone. Very rarely has he said something for which he needed to go back and apologize. Very rarely does he talk too much in group settings, monopolizing the conversation and turning off those who are listening. His life is evidence of a tight connection between processing life in conversation with God and using wisdom and restraint in conversations with everyone else. I wish I were more naturally like Todd and other prayer warriors who instinctively turn first to prayer to process life. But my default mode typically looks something more like this. A concern arises. I mull it over in my mind. I pick up the phone or write an email to process the concern with a close friend. I take the friend's counsel and advice into consideration. I mull over the concern some more, and then some more. I feel completely muddled. Suddenly it occurs to me that perhaps I should actually pray about it. So almost as a last resort, I finally consult God. Why, oh why is my default mode not to run to God first? To hit my knees before I hit the phone, or tap away on the keyboard. Though my natural inclination is to process before I pray, I am continually reminding myself to flip that script, with a sticky note posted near my kitchen sink and a screensaver on my phone, both sporting the same phrase. But wait, have you prayed about it? We are better poised to process life's troubles after petitioning God first. I'm still learning this lesson, but the calm I feel when I get the order straight encourages me to keep on trying. Perhaps you have people in your life who are like Kelly and Todd. those whose lives demonstrate a connection between prayer and using words wisely. But what does the Bible have to say about this connection? Let's take a trip back in time and spy on someone who made prayer a regular habit and as a result seemed to know just what to say and do. And we will take that trip tomorrow in part 2. So I hope you've all had a very wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.